Hello, welcome to the Market Huddle today here at Secured Retirement. My name is Angie Schaffschneider and I work in marketing for the firm. And to help bring these events, I'm usually not the one in front of a camera, but the topic today is near and dear to my interest, which is how to safeguard your social media, especially in the terms of financial investments and your digital wallet. So today I have essentially three parts that I'm looking to cover. First of all, why is this an issue? An overview of your risk and what to be looking out for. What are we safeguarding? The second part of the agenda is just account safeguards and steps to take. How can you be a better, more informed user of social media accounts? And then the third is a bit of a workshop. It will be just to specifically look at how to activate two-factor. If you're not familiar with two-factor, it's one of the kind of first and foremost security settings that are being brought forward by our social media accounts and other digital and mobile devices to help make sure that you are who you are and that anyone coming in on your account is using a device that is recognized. So that's what we're going to cover for today. So just starting out, and a lot of the facts here are going to be coming in from the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC. This is based on a 2021 report on social media being the entrance point into fraudulent behavior and activities that was reported into the FTC. So on the right, the chart is based on 2021. It just shows how much of a dramatic increase social media has presented as an entry point or a gateway for fraudulent activity just in last year alone. So in the last 5 years, the total reported losses were 18 times higher, and the number of people who reported losing money grew 19 times that of even 5 years prior. So it's an incredible uptick in fraudulent activity for specifically social media. 25% of all financial losses from fraud reported to the FTC in 2021. From those cases, estimated at $770 million, just stemming from online scams that came in as the entry point being social media. For today's purposes, I'm really speaking a lot to Facebook or Instagram, even Google, but that is from a social media standpoint, basically how it is coming in as the method of contact. So the perpetrators are using social media in order to gain access to you. When we look at investment fraud, is the most common form of fraud. Investment scams, getting information based on what you might be gaining in like cryptocurrency, or trying to actually purchase something or invest in something is the means of how they're accessing your information, but it's through the form of a form of investments. Second only to romance, unfortunately, being the second highest form of fraud. Online shopping, I purchased something and my goods never came to me, and then all other forms of fraud. So it's a big portion of the pie here is coming in from specifically investment scams. So with investment scams accounting for about 18% of the reports about fraud, perpetrated on social media, but the kind of the scarier picture is of the 18%, it's actually coming in at 37% of the total dollar losses. So where people specified the payment method used for the investment scams, in 64% of those reports, it was through the use of cryptocurrency. So using crypto as kind of the means, whether it's getting an investment opportunity to buy crypto, but using social media in order to access to getting somebody to do a trade. And then you may wonder, like, how does this happen? Like, some of this might not seem so obvious, but the actual larger percentage of demographic that's falling trapped to this is ages 18 to 39. So it's not just because it, maybe a victim of our elderly or it can really happen to anybody. Facebook and Instagram really make it easy to manufacture a fake persona. I can be presented as a person or an individual, and there's nothing to safeguard that I'm actually who I truly am. I can create the account as a completely fake or false identity. Scammers can hack into an existing profile, and they can get your friends through your friends to serve as the con. So they're presenting themselves as a loved one or a family, but they aren't. And it is actually a hacker who hacked into your friend's account, and you don't know that it isn't truly your friend. You can really fine tune your message. You can study a lot of details. We give a lot of information about ourselves out on social media. We say a lot about us. We say our names and our families and our friends and things about us, what we like. So we disclose a lot of information about ourselves on social, which serves up those details for hackers to take and actually use to see what are some things that we might find most appealing to fall trap or fall victim. And then scammers, just in general, can use the same advertising tools that advertisers use. So at a very low cost and very high reach, reaching out based on bogus ads or personal details to go find people that are most susceptible to fall victim based on age or interest or even past purchases. So number one kind of lesson on this is to be on alert. A lot of activity happens through messaging. So direct messages offline gets presented as the person. Ironically, the very first example on the screen here happened to me about 10 minutes ago. So I have a friend of mine who through a DM sent me, look who died, the emojis and a link, but that link actually passes me through to fraudulent a phishing technique. And in their case, they don't know they even sent it. So letting them know. Second example is just like you can get fished into it. So somebody maybe just pleasantries, and then next thing you know, they're telling you something about a PPE loan or maybe something especially tied to COVID and some sort of financial benefit that somebody may not have been aware of, but they're presenting in a form of a tip or a financial opportunity. And to fall victim to something like that is basically passing through. So the advice here is to be on alert. And then when it is a friend, a family, or a new acquaintance, but if it's urgently speaking to you about money, sharing a links, giving you tips, just call that person over Messenger just to see is this truly you? They may not be aware that the messages had even gone out. Facebook and Instagram want you to be secure, and they want you to not fall victim to this, where there are safeguards that are going to be presented to you in order to safeguard your account. The first and biggest thing is just to know what you are sharing and who is seeing it. You can have settings in your accounts to actually set your settings to not allow anything that you ever post to be seen by anyone that is not a friend. That can be a really good first step. So in your settings and what you share in your information, you make sure that any information shared is only someone that you're already connected with. And you do that in your settings. If you are posting in groups, groups can have a privacy setting, and that privacy setting, it may be set to be private, meaning you have to be a member of the group in order to see it. Your group might be public. And if it's public, that means even though you have the setting, by participating in those groups, you are publicly posting and giving information about yourself. Facebook and Instagram do checkups. So the checkups allow you to just follow some prompts. So complete a privacy checkup. This is just in your settings. I have some screens coming in for just myself that show prompts, proactive prompts that are looking to invite you to do a checkup. So the checkups are your easiest way to get your account so that you know that it is the best that it can possibly be, or that you're aware if there happens to be some things that place you at risk. So these are prompts that you would see on a device, most likely a phone. So you follow the steps based to guide you through what are some additional steps that you should be taking if you're not already in order to safeguard your account. So this example just shows this is something that I received. I followed the prompts, but it does, you click next, it'll help guide you to, is your password a strong password? Is it something that somebody can't guess? And then the second is whether or not you have an actual two-factor turned on. If you're not sure if you have two-factor, do the safety check, the privacy check, and it will tell you whether it's on or not. In the event you do not have two-factor, Facebook will guide you on how to set it up very, very specifically through the prompts until it is complete. So this is just a little overview as far as what is two-factor. When we use the term two-factor, what do we mean? So two-factor authentication is recognizing you by your device. And we can say, I have teenagers at home, I think their phone is literally an extension to their hand. It's part of their persons, they're never without it. So what two-factor uses is the technology of knowing your device and what you've logged in under, and it is very device related. So it knows your phone, it knows your computer, or any devices for which you've logged in and you've confirmed who you are. So it uses the device technology to recognize who you are and then where you are. So where you are is based on your location services. If you allow Facebook to know your location, it is using your movements in order to detect that you are in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. And this is one place I physically am located at, so that if somebody in New York is trying to access my account, it triggers the fact that you're not in the same location as accessing a device. And Facebook will use that location awareness in order to check with you to make sure that that was in fact you, and it'll prompt you. So these trusted areas basically are part of the safeguard. And then with the trusted area, it actually triggers a code or pushes a code to your device. And with that code, you would then formally confirm that it is in fact you. And that's tied to a cell phone number. So turning on two-factor, and the act of actually turning on two-factor is basically turning on a code so that you confirm you have it. Once you get a device to be a trusted device, you don't have to do this again. This is truly a once setup, so it's not an annoyance or convenience. Once you have it actually set, you don't have to return to do it, but it will know your device in a trusted area. If any hacker's trying to do it, they will be challenged because they will not have your code. So it prevents them from even getting into your account in the first place. If you do not get a code, and so this is my one tip for everyone, if there's a reason that you did not receive a code, it may be because your actual account in Facebook doesn't allow Facebook to send you a text message. Two-factor does rely on the technology to send a code to your phone. And if you've ever heard or seen the warnings that say data cost may apply, or the permissions to actually send a text message, that could be a setting that you have that not allowing Facebook to actually send you a text message to achieve the two-factor. It may be a permission, or it may be that you've never given Facebook your phone number. So if there's one thing that I give as advice, if you cannot set up two-factor, most likely it stems from the text message aspect of Facebook and the phone number being listed in your settings and verified, and that you allow Facebook to actually send you a text message, both of which are in your settings. And then just as a public service, here at Secured Retirement, we are more than happy to provide help. So if there's technology challenges that you may face and you'd like to come in somewhere and have somebody like myself, Angie, help you, it would be my pleasure to do so. Just bring in your mobile device and we will help you turn on your two-factor. Two-factor is one of a couple different with social media, but if you've been paying attention to the IRS and to getting your tax documents, the IRS just recently announced their own safeguards for accessing your information using similar technology, but to use technology in order to confirm that they really are truly speaking with you. So it protects your identity. Any questions on any of those things, though, we are here to help, and it would be our pleasure. So this was a little bit of a shorter market huddle, but if anyone has questions, I did turn on the chat. So you should be able to enter your question there. Otherwise, I did want to take an opportunity to talk about some of our upcoming events. Next Monday, Joe Lucy will return with Andy Ives. Andy Ives is from the Ed Slott organization. They are going to do a more deeper kind of high-level discussion just specifically to required minimum distributions. And we're kind of leaning a little bit on the age 72 when those are coming to be required. Monday, March 21st, we've got Nate Zeller returning in. And Nate, who is our chief investment strategist, will be diving into the Federal Reserve report, which will be out and published on the 15th and 16th. So we're coming in as a fast follow to that. What we expect to be the hottest topics with it is certainly inflation and interest rates. And then we do have a Meganar coming in, what we refer to as one of our larger events. This one will be at the Sheridan near the Ridgedale Mall in Minnetonka. We are bringing guest David Walker. He's an author, former comptroller for 2 different U.S. presidents. We're bringing him here into the cities to speak about federal government spending and the impact that has on our fiscal metrics. So these are a few. Just keep posted onto our social media pages. I did see a comment here from Christian about 2-factor. And of course, using a VPN or a virtual network is another kind of key factor. So great point on security settings, even just on your physical desktop environment. Even if you're somewhere remote, you can certainly use the technology that's available to you to make sure that your devices always know that it is truly you. And if somebody else is trying to use your accounts and they're not on your device, they can't. And it shuts them out exactly where they should be, not anywhere in your space. And then, of course, outside of our events, we are always here if you are looking for an educational partner in secured retirement. We take great pride in providing content and education to not just clients, but anyone that's just interested in financial topics. And then, of course, any of our existing clients, if it's time to come in and get a check on just an analysis, just let us know. We are here for you. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you next week, Monday, with Joe Lucy and Andy Ives to talk about RMDs. Thank you.